Compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on June the 7th, 2019, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel, Ledger of the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Fortson?
Present.
Mr. Young?
Here.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Here.
All members are present.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 28th, the regular and the closed session minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any corrections, deletions, or omissions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none, would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Fortson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor?
All right. Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and committee members. Just a few things. First, I'd like to thank the City of Sea Isle Public Works Department for assisting us with the project on Strathmere Beach, and by thanking them for the use of a tractor and York rake to basically rake our beach, and our Public Works team did a great job over a 3.5-day period of time, removing a lot of the debris and some of the vegetation that has grown on that
That was a
beach.
great improvement. I was there Saturday and walked several blocks, and it was way better than it was over Memorial Day weekend, so great job.
Yep, so we do thank them for their assistance. Mike Jones coordinated with their supervisors over there, and everything went well.
Hey Scott, do you mind if I just interject on that?
Absolutely.
I just want to also note that I wanted to thank the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the DEP.
Absolutely.
We did a lot of coordination with 4 different sections within both of those agencies to allow us to kind of do it out of season. We also did an inspection on the beach for endangered sea beach amaranth before and during some of the operations. So I just want to thank those agencies for working with the township and allowing us to clean that beach up.
So, and thank you, Paul, because I was in a chain of emails that I know Paul was involved with, talking with both, the federal agencies and the state agency. At one point, we were talking about having Lomex do
Yes.
an informal
Survey.
survey.
They came out and surveyed
we
the
did that.
beach. Yes.
Is this something we can borrow equipment again and do it when we're allowed to do it?
Well, part of what we're going to do is, if you remember, we just adopted the beach management plan about 2 meetings ago. The next step is we're going to update our beach and dune maintenance permit. So it's kind of a 2-step process. It's due to expire in March of 2020, but I've talked to the DEP about applying a little bit early to try to apply in the fall, so that so that we can get the permit before January, so that we can do it outside of the nesting bird season, outside of the plant season, and not have to go through these gyrations of getting the different government approvals and just do it in season. So we would do it in January, late February, when those seasons allow us to do a maintenance raking.
But we're also allowed to rake it on occasion to clean up the beach.
Well, that's what we did this
But
raking
when
under.
I read the agreement, it said not the protected areas, but it didn't say we couldn't on the other areas.
I think we have a little bit more leeway that I understand it on the recreational side. But they certainly still had restrictions to look at, whether or not we had sea amaranth, which, I don't know, it blooms like what, once every 20 years or something?
It depends on when it can come up, but it's very,
Which they didn't find any of that.
they
right?
did not find it.
I remember the one year we did have it, and it's not an attractive plant, but it's an endangered species. So.
We've had it twice on our beach in the last 20 years.
Right. I remember the one time we all walked it,
Yep.
like in a straight line, so no one would step on anything, and they actually found 2 or 3 of the plants.
Well, they found a well too, didn't they?
Yeah, well, that was taken care of. So it's been a lot going on the beach in Strathmere, so.
All kinds of activity.
But, yeah, thanks for your input, Paul, because, you know, I mean, you know me, I try and stay relaxed when I see like, no, you can't do it. I'm like, find a way to make it work. So, good job.
You're welcome.
The second thing I have on my list this evening is during the public comment segment of our last committee meeting, there were some questions or concerns raised as to the response of the New Jersey State Police and their some patrol concerns in Strathmere, and I think maybe even generalized throughout the township. I had an opportunity after that meeting to speak with the commander, New Jersey State Police Woodbine Barracks Lieutenant Bill Henry. First and foremost, he wanted to ensure the entire public of the residents of both of Upper Township and anybody, any tourists or visitors to Upper Township, that if there's ever an emergency or they need to report a crime, they should dial 911. That's the best way to get response from the New Jersey State Police, and they will always respond. To take a report, or if you see something that's active, the old adage, see something, or if you see something, say something, that's the best way to get state police response, and he assured me they will be there. With specifics to the Strathmere itself, I know some of the concerns that were raised as far as those different issues that have occurred in past seasons during the summer. The lieutenant wanted to ensure us that there will be an increased presence during the summer months, specifically from June 8th through August 31st. They will see increased presence during the weekends. And that's not just driving through Strathmere. He wanted it known that there will be interaction with the residents, with the business owners, and with the tourists. So they will actively be spending time, several hours, during the weekend period. Now also too, he wanted to ensure us that their regular shifts would be increased over there as far as their patrol loops. So there will be additional patrol loops during the week through the summer. So they will definitely see an increased presence in Strathmere, as you will, and I think some residents here on the inland side of Upper Township have seen an increased presence over the last 3 months during Lieutenant Henry's assignment. And he assured me too that there's no overtime costs that are impacting the township, nothing like that. It's all costs that are being encumbered through the New Jersey State Police. So we do thank him for his cooperation, and moving forward, I look forward to working with the lieutenant. The last thing I have is an update for Public Works, or from Public Works. There have been few complaints or concerns over compost collection recently. We're making attempts to specifically catch up with our collection that has fallen behind slightly. Most of the delay was due to some of our automated trucks that had broken down, and there was unfortunately a less timely turnaround on getting the equipment back in service because of issues with the outside vendors that we used. We've since switched off, and I think things, the vendors, I think things are going to change very soon. And then specifically tomorrow, we will be in Tuckahoe and Stillmanville areas, in addition to Beasley's Point, heading south. So there will be two additional trucks exclusively collecting compost, and that's a 4-man complement on those trucks. So basically, it's kind of an update as far as compost is concerned. I know I spoke to you, Mayor, about that, and Mike and the rest of the Public Works team we're going to concentrate on those areas. So,
Great.
I thank you. That's it.
Barbara?
Nothing to report, sir. Thank you.
Nothing at this time, but we do have a few items for closed session.
Okay. Paul?
Thank you. I have several items this evening. First, I just wanted to update you on several county road projects, just to give you an update on them. The contractor started today on the expanded parking area in the Whale Beach section of Sea Isle City to kind of accommodate some of the loss of parking. along Commonwealth and Landis Avenue. So that contractor started today. They anticipate the striping to start within probably next week, to start the restriping of Commonwealth and Landis Avenue, both in the Strathmere section and Seattle City. The Hope Corson Road reconstruction, the second phase from Stagecoach Road to Route 50, that project has been awarded. They're having a pre-construction conference, I believe, at the end of this week, so I would anticipate probably within 2 to 3 weeks that job could be starting up for construction. And if you recall, I reported previously that will require some detouring of traffic during that. I think there will be a 2 or 3 week period where traffic will be detoured around. Local traffic and local businesses that are located on that, you'll be able to get to those, but they're not going to be allowing through traffic along between Stagecoach Road and Route 50. The next project, the Corson Tavern Road project, talked to the county engineer. They've submitted the project to it's a federal aid project, so they've submitted it to the FHWA for their review process, and they hope to bid it during the late summer and award it in September to have I'll say a fall-winter construction project to possibly have it open for spring of 2020.
Well, that would make sense, that'd be good.
I did talk with them. The project limits for that would be from the border with Dennis Township to 600 feet north of Caledonia Drive. So it's stopping about 500 feet short of Newbridge Road. We're about 160 feet, 180 feet short of that unnamed road that takes you out to Route 9. He said that portion of the road is going to be included in the reconstruction of New Bridge Road. So they're kind of tying that intersection at the Wild Bird Crossing and the no-name road, because from my understanding, the county aid project on New Bridge Road and unnamed road, they're kind of connecting it with Corson Tavern to make it a continuous project that's part of their funding. That project also will be bid at the same time. So they're anticipating that whether the same contractor gets it or they'll have the work being done, as part of a seamless operation or, in the same proximity of time. I'll keep the committee updated because that's a county aid project, whether or not that funding changes or that project slips in the schedule. I'll keep up to date with the county engineer on that one.
We should probably anticipate the Summers Avenue by the Seville Tavern there. Anticipate a lot more traffic because you can go through Alexa and go all the way through there. So we need to, actually during the construction, we should probably try to get some speed limit things, because I gotta believe everybody avoiding construction is gonna be going through there, and it could see a lot of increase there.
Great. I also wanted to report, last week that they started, the utility company started the repaving of several of the streets in Strathmere. They kind of completed the loop of Williams, Neptune, and Seaview and down most of South Bayview Drive or North Bayview Drive. They're going to continue the rest of this week. Weather depending, they've got a couple rain days coming up this week, so they're just going to continue heading south, doing that utility road work. And on Friday, I received the 95% construction project plans for the Army Corps Beachville project for the portions of Ocean City, Strathmere, and Seattle City. Anticipated they will be reconstructing the dunes on our beach from the Corson's Inlet State Park, the natural area, down to Winthrop Avenue, and doing the beach hill from the natural area south to Hawthorne. That's the areas that they've determined that there is loss. It's about 400,000 cubic yards of sand that they estimate would be needed on the beach. So I'm doing a final plan review, and I'll be sending my comments up to the Army Corps.
So here's a question. How are they going to address the new dune formations that have begun to occur from the grasses that have spread down closer to the beach area? I mean, the water's edge kind of thing.
The way the plans are written today is the contractor will have the ability to grade any sand that is above the template elevation down into the lower beach area out into the ocean, because that's obviously sand that has been previously pumped up and paid for, so the contractor, they're allowing the contractor to regrade that. I've had some preliminary discussions with the DEP about trying to save some of that area, especially up near the higher dunes where, we've built up a lot right at the dunes, so I would want to undercut, some of that sand where the dune is. So I'm possibly looking at making a recommendation to stay at least 50 feet away from the dune before they would start grading down to template. I mean, there's areas from a template perspective that there's probably maybe 18 inches to 2 feet, not including, some of the higher, some of those dunes probably have a good 1.5 feet of.
Well, some of them off of Vincent are almost 3 feet.
But the plan does call that they can regrade those areas and, put it back to where it should be as far as within the beach template.
And when do they anticipate the start of that?
They anticipate bidding that project during the summer, to award it in September, to have the contractor starting in October.
This year.
This year, and having it completed by March 1 of 2020. So they want to try to have it completed before the bird nesting season of 2020. And that's all three portions. There's the northern part, the main part of Ocean City, the southern section of Ocean City, Strathmere, and then there's 2 sections within CL City that are all doing that. It's taking a little bit longer to coordinate from when you're combining 2 projects in this large of a scale. They actually have to go back to do some different processes with Congress and the OMB to get approvals for such a large contract.
And do we know if the state's allocation is funded at this point?
It is.
That's good news.
And I hope to have, by the end of this month, they should be sending us a preliminary estimate of what our cost share would be for that.
Okay, that's great.
That's all I had this evening.
Barbara, congratulations.
Thank you. I have nothing this evening, Mr.
Okay. Committeeman Coggins,
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Committeeman Young.
Just again, a reminder, 4th of July celebration. We are still looking for some volunteers to help us out, as well as for the Fall Fest on September the 28th. Scott, with the new commander out there, I'd like to see us pursue once again shutting down Route 50 from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock for the car show. Okay. We don't need it all day, and we don't need it to get the cars out. But it would definitely increase our ability to get cars in off the street if we would just do that from 8 to 12. So if we could start that now.
I can entertain that, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to wait till the last minute with it. And I know before they said no.
Right.
But we asked for the entire period. So maybe 8 to 12, we can get them to help us out with that.
Give them a call tomorrow. I did speak with the sheriff today. It's been coordinated for both the July 4th festival and also the 28th.
Okay, great. That was really the only major thing I had. Projects, we're still working on them, still trying to work out the manpower to get a few things done with needing equipment operators, things of that nature that can find grades from areas, and hopefully we'll keep heading in the right direction on that. So that's it.
Deputy Mayor Barr.
Where do we stand with the beach mats? Scott?
They've been moved.
They've all been
Done?
moved.
Yep.
Yep.
In the right spots?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Good. Good job there, Michael. That's all I have.
I went down to check it out, so I was there. Committeeman Corson.
Thank you. The only thing I have, was thinking about this the other day, we have Belle Plaine State Forest patrols Corson's Inlet State Park, both Ocean City side and our side. Is it out of the realm of possibilities if we ask them if they can patrol our beach at night when they go through?
I don't know.
Because they're looking for the same issues we have, bonfires and stuff like that.
State park?
Yes.
I don't know that they'll be
I don't
able
see
to
any
get
reason why.
around.
There's no distinction between the two.
Well, they can go in one gate and not the other gate.
Well, I guess at high tide, they're gonna have a hard time getting around from the inlet section.
But
They,
So we shouldn't, I think we should ask them, because they're over there now patrolling their beaches and stuff. We have a problem. They own to the high tide line anyhow, so it's not a stretch for them to patrol it.
Do they have access?
We have 2 access points.
Well, they have the access thing at the lifeguard station and the other access down further south.
And then we can give them keys.
You may want to couch it in, they should be aware of the potential liability for fires and injury or whatever. They may want to start patrolling it because of the complaints we've had. That might get their attention a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't know what the procedure or who we can get to reach out to them, because I mean, they're there. They're just patrolling their little part, and if we can get ours patrolled, I think it's a plus.
I mean, I think that the one thing that might be the catch for them is that if, you know, if a wind should come up and ember or whatever should blow away from the fire, which they're not supposed to have fires anyway, but if the dune grass were to catch or something, that, you know, that certainly would be an issue.
Probably would come down to whether they have jurisdiction on public sectors.
Yes, they do.
Do they?
Because the state of New
They're
Jersey,
state police, I think.
Are they part of the state police?
they have the same
I think they
powers
have
as
the
state
same
troopers.
power of arrest.
Yes,
I don't know, that's why I said that would probably be the only thing I would say that could be a deterrent.
and they
But
actually,
I want it to be coordinated with the state police, because they've been very cooperative, and I want to make sure that we don't have anybody stepping on one another's toes and everything else. It has to be a coordinated effort.
definitely, but the state police aren't going to patrol the beach.
No, I understand that, but I still think
And this puts,
it would be nice to coordinate the whole thing.
it should be, and I'm not, but this puts somebody in a vehicle on the beach in the off times that can enforce laws. And then for that matter, they could probably get on the sea island and come all the way up. You're going to thank Scott. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Right, the only thing I have is that we had, that we haven't already discussed, we had tryouts Saturday for the lifeguards. We needed 3 full-time guards and 1 part-time guard replacement. They had like 10 I don't want to say kids, 10 young adults try out. And I have the names of those that qualified and went through the interview process. There are 3 women and 1 man, which is a great change over the years that we have that, and the women were really good swimmers. So anyway, 3 out of the 4 are from Upper Township, and the 4th one went through our junior guard program for the past 4 years. So we really have been able to not only have good swimmers and people that qualify, they're from Upper Township. So what I'd like to do, because I want to try and start rookie camp Saturday, which is before our next meeting, is to hire these contingent upon, now, they're all younger than some of the things that we do for background checks and stuff with
Pre-employment
fingerprints.
testing.
Huh?
Pre-employment testing.
Right. So contingent upon the pre-employment assessment. So the names are Rebecca Millar, Lindsay Robbins, Mike Dickinson, and Lorna Connell will be the part-time person. And that will be someone that probably will work a couple days a week, because we are going to try and put a stand at Seacliff on weekends, and then open the new stand down closer to Whale Beach, as we had said that we would do. But there's, Lorna will be able to help us fill in that way, and then maybe towards the end of the year, you know, we can maybe bring her on at a different, when we have people starting going back to college and everything else, so.
Is that a motion, Mr. Mayor?
That's a motion.
I'll second that. Here we go.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to the resolutions?
Yeah, you had the ordinance listed first, but
Yes, I do,
we can do the ordinance.
because we need that before we do the next resolution. Okay, under ordinances, we have the public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 9, 2018, and ordinance amending ordinance number 21, 2018, known as the salary ordinance for the calendar year 2019.
Okay, so I will open it up to see if there's any public comment on this ordinance 9, 2019, and it really is addressing some job titles in the township. equipment operator, truck driver, heavy, assistant personnel officer. So, if there's anyone in the audience that would like to address this ordinance, please do so now. Come up to the podium and state your name and what you'd like to present before the Township Committee. Okay, doesn't appear that there's any public comment. Let the record reflect that. I'll close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion for adoption.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 9-2019.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 2, under resolutions, amending resolution number 12, 2019, that appoints various officers and employees to annual and specified terms.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 3, authorizing Upper Township to be a sponsor for the Village Pharmacy Medical Disposal Drop-Box Project.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 4, renewal of alcoholic beverage licenses for the license year 2019.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 5, refund EMS ambulance billing overpayment to Carpenter's Health and Welfare Fund.
Move the resolution. Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 6, Chapter 159, resolution for the insertion of a special item of revenue into the budget that was not determined at the time of the adoption of the budget, State of New Jersey 2019 Clean Communities Grant in the amount of $39,331.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion's carried. 7, tax refunds for Block 549, Lot 15, and Block 562, Lot 30.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion's carried. 8, authorizing a professional services contract with Suasions Communications Group for the maintenance of the Upper Township Internet website.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 9, amending resolution number 162, 2019, that appointed John Mitchell as a full-time employee to the Upper Township Public Works Department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, requesting the installation of fire safety equipment warning lights along New Jersey State Highway Route 50 at mile post 6.57.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 11, authorizing the purchase of certain items and for the chief financial officer to withdraw funds in the amount of $12,601.24 from the account entitled Recycling Trust Account for such purposes.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 12, appointing Jeffrey Cacaro as a boat ramp attendant for the 2019 season.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Authorizing the deputy mayor to sign a deed restriction for affordable rental properties for the Osprey Cove project. And I might add that, Mayor, you have a conflict on this.
Yeah, I have to
So
recuse
does-
myself because my parents live at Osprey Point.
Motion to approve.
So does the municipal attorney. The information's been reviewed by the conflict attorney, Mr. Briggs. Motion to approve, okay.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo? You going to abstain?
Recused.
Okay, recused. Okay. Motion is carried with 4 in favor. All right, now we have the payment of the bills.
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
There are a number of reports of the municipal departments, construction, division of EMS, municipal court, MUA, and tax collector. All of these reports will be available upon request tomorrow at the clerk's office. I'll make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So we are moving through the agenda rather quickly. So at this time,
Record pace.
we'll open it up if there's any public comment for the Township Committee. Now it's time to do so. Please go up to the podium, state your name and your reason for addressing the Township Committee. And the pace will really speed up now. Well, okay, so it doesn't appear that there's any public comment this evening, so we'll close that portion of the meeting and entertain a motion to executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are litigation on affordable housing, contract negotiation for the media consultant, and personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you all for attending the meeting this evening. We ask that you drive safely home. We hope that you have a great week.